Hey folks, Scott Klaum here, and today we're going to talk about a simple alternative for your breakfasts to taking those little pre-packaged packets of instant oatmeal. Now, I certainly used to do that until I realized that I was sort of paying a premium, not only for the convenience, but also for a lot of extra sugar and sometimes, additives and stuff into that oatmeal that I didn't really want to be putting into my system. And so I started thinking about alternatives. And what we're going to talk about today are steel cut oats as opposed to the standard rolled oats, which is normally what you get if you're buying the packets of oatmeal, or even if you're just, getting a canister of the quick cook rolled oats and cooking these up on the stove yourself, not doing just hot water with a little packet of oatmeal. But there's still a better alternative to these rolled oats that will give you some extra carbs and a lot of good fiber, good protein. But beyond that, what I think is so key about them is the fact that they reheat so well, right? If you're going with the quick cook rolled oats, I'm sure you've had the experience of like letting that stuff sit for a while and then you get back to it and it is just a gluey, disgusting paste that you want to have nothing to do with. And that's only after it's been sitting there for a few minutes. Certainly it's not something that you can, cook up and prepare in advance and then have waiting for you in the fridge for the rest of the week. But that's something that you can do with the steel cut oats. So just in case you've never seen them before, let's take a quick look here. Okay, what we've got here are sort of standard rolled oats. They've been rolled out flat. And here are the steel cut oats. You might see them. I would absolutely encourage you to look for these in the bulk section. You're going to save yourself a lot of money. A couple of scoops of these will last you a week minimum. And they'll either be labeled as steel cut oats. You might see them as groats, because this is basically the whole grain that's just been sort of sliced up into these pieces. So that's what your steel cut oats are going to look like. And as for preparing them, there's really it's far more simple, I think, than any of us have considered. Certainly that was the case with me, because I thought, oh God, it's going to take me all this time on the stovetop, or I have to have a rice cooker that's got a special setting for doing these oats. It's a piece of cake. Let's see how we do it. So just get your saucepan, your pot on the stove. Okay. Typically I do 1 cup of the oats to 3 cups water. And if I'm going to be cooking enough for myself for the entire week, I might double that, if I'm doing it on the weekend. But what you want to do to start out is you're just going to toast the oats a little bit in your pot. So I would say put in a little sliver of butter, a little bit of, or a little bit of a good olive oil. I'm using about a teaspoon right now of coconut oil. Okay, that's another option. And you just get that in there, melt it down real quick. If you're going to opt for butter, well, if you're going to opt for butter, please do butter. Don't do margarine. That's like eating plastic. Don't get me started on the butter versus margarine. Just go sparingly with the butter, but if you want to go down the rabbit hole, you can get yourself on the internet and Google what's really in, those low-fat margarine products. All right, our oats go in before the water, and it's just going to take a minute or two. You just want to sort of toast these guys up, mix them around a little bit, and you'll be able to tell that they're toasted because they sort of start smelling toasty. We got that done. Here are my 3 cups of water because I did 1 cup of the oats. Okay, and we are seriously like seconds away from being done, and I will explain to you why. Turn that up. Bring that to a rolling boil, and as soon as this guy starts boiling, shut it off, go to bed. And you just let this sit overnight on the stove. It's turned off, okay, but it's basically just going to cook itself up overnight. Time you get up the next morning, you're going to have awesome steel-cut oats, which you can then just take right out of the pot and put them into something like this where you can store them in the fridge for the week. Okay, for the week. Or what you can do, I really like to take this and, much like we did with the salad jars, pack them up. Pack yourself 5 days, 6 days, 7 days worth of oatmeal. You can use whatever you like, right? If you have little Pyrex dishes, you can put them in there. You can add them to. Again, I'm a fan of saving glass jars. So you can use a glass jar with a good lid, and all you need to do. I lost my oats. All right, just get that stuff right in there. And you can really quickly pack several different options for yourself. You know, I might take some raisins, you know, put those in my oatmeal, a little cinnamon, any kind of dried fruit that you like. You may not want to put the milk in all 5 of them to start out with, but you know, if I'm going to eat this tomorrow, I'll give myself a little milk, and then really, as long as you're packing stuff in glass, it's really easy to heat it up in the microwave. Okay, don't be doing that with the plastic. And you can just stick these guys in the fridge. You'll have oatmeal all week long. That's getting there, but I'll tell you, this is the best alternative to eating those packets of oatmeal if you like to have something hot in the morning. Go find yourself a store where you can get bulk goods and look for the groats. Look for the steel-cut oats. Give this a shot. It's a piece of cake, and once you try these, you'll never go back. They just get better day after day. All right, enjoy. I'll see you next time.